bá yín ṣe kí ni ẹ sẹ́ni sí kò parí
Kíni slide?
slide yẹn mo máa mo change kí ni tẹ́lẹ̀ ni mo lè tún change thumbnail ni
Okay. Mo lè rí live chat nílò. Okay. Ilé comments. Okay, good morning. Good morning, Mr. Bob. So, uh, welcome back to the class. So, today we'll be talking about design thinking, and I hope we were able to grab something yesterday. We discussed introduction to UI UX, and but before we go into today's class, do you have any question? Can drop it on the chat. Do you have any question concerning yesterday's class? Can drop it on the chat. Okay, so if there is no question for now, so um, we'll be talking about design thinking process today. So let's go into it. Now, what does design thinking process means? So yesterday we talked about human-centered design as an approach to solving problems, right? By understanding users and creating uh, useful and usable products that are actually solving their problem, understanding their needs, their preferences, their behaviors, and the likes. So today we'll be talking about design thinking. This is another approach, a more practical approach. Right? So design thinking is a practical, collaborative, creative, iterative, human-centered design approach to understanding and solving problems. So starting from the first terminology we have here. We have the practical. So design thinking is more practical than human-centered design. It involves more practical hands. You have to get your hand dirty. You have to work, right? And also collaborative. In this course, UI UX design, in these skills generally, you need to be collaborative. Collaborate with stakeholders, you collaborate with users, you collaborate with your developers to ensure that everyone is aligned and everyone is carried along, right? And also a creative. This is where your creative thinking comes in. This is where you come up with possible and usable ideas that are actually solving the problem. That can, if you prefer, these are sections where you prefer ideas that can help you solve the particular problem, right? And also iterative. Iterative, like I said yesterday, iterative is like an improvement, a progressive improvement, right? Like a non-linear process. Iterative means something that is not straightforward. You go back and forth. That means if you are doing design thinking, if you are if you are taking the design thinking process, you have to be iterative. Under the design thinking process, we have stages, right? So under those stages, you have to be iterative, going from one to the next one, going back from one to the other one. So it's an iterative process, it's an iterative approach in solving problem, right? And also we have the human-centered design. Human-centered design is like what we said yesterday, is a problem-solving approach to understanding and providing a solution that can help users overcome the challenges they are facing. Right? That's human-centered design. Now putting everything together, it helps you understand and now come up with usable problems, usable solutions that can solve the problems. So we say design thinking process is a practical, collaborative, creative, iterative, human-centered design to understanding and solving problems. That's just it. But we have to elaborate more, and that's why I said being practical means that you have to work, you have to do practical work, right? You have to get your hand dirty. And collaborative, you have to collaborate, work with people. Creative, coming up with possible ideas, ideas that can help you solve the problem. And iterative is not a straightforward stuff. you have to go back and forth to ensure that everything is aligned and everything is working well, to ensure that you are going to be coming up with the best solution. And human-centered design, there's an approach to solving problems by understanding users, understanding their needs, their habits, frustrations, and their preferences, to understanding and solving problems. Now, that's the definition of design thinking process. Okay, say no question for now. Okay, then we have the results of design thinking process. Why are you conducting design thinking process? Right? So the first one is desirable. For you to ensure that you are going to be creating useful and pleasurable products. That's why you are conducting design thinking process. A product that's going to be desirable, that people will want, that people will want to experience with it, right? And it's going to be useful and pleasurable. And the next one is feasible. You have to consider the technology part, right? Okay, creating a particular app, you know that you are creating a particular, you want to create a platform that can, maybe for instance, that can actually solve problems for students in schools. And now you are now creating that product on only desktop. You are only creating the desktop view. You also know that students actually go with their phones, not only students. Nowadays, people go with their phones a lot, more than carrying laptop, tablets all around. So they go along with their phones. Now, you creating a particular product that can only be accessible on the desktop. That means people won't be using it. So you need to consider the technology part too. Okay, this particular product needs to be a mobile app, needs to be on mobiles, right? And also viable. Now, you creating a particular product, you are just creating it for the user, people are using it. Is it making money? Is it generating something? Does it make business sense? You have to take note of that too. So is it a viable product that, okay, after this particular product, after people are registering on this, you are getting this from there, is generating revenue, is bringing out money. You have to consider that. And also sustainable. You are creating a particular problem that can be accessible, that can be used in a particular region, in a particular society. You creating a particular problem that can help people in the desert, you are now creating it uh, in local area like the south, for instance. That means you are not considering this sustainability, right? That's why I asterisk that concept. It's not really important, but if you can attach that to your design thinking process too, it will help you create more product that actually tailoring to some particular target audience, right? So these four steps, these four results are what you need to consider, are what you need to take note of in creating in conducting design thinking process. You are not just conducting design thinking, you are not just coming up with, okay, I want to empathize, I want to define, I want to ideate. No, what are the results of what you are doing? First one, it needs to be desirable, product that's going to be desirable, feasible, viable and sustainable. You need to take note of everything, right? So that's the result. Like we're saying, the importance, the reasons you are creating, you are conducting design thinking. These are the results, right? Desirable, feasible, viable, and sustainable. Then we have the stages of design thinking. Design thinking is an approach. I said is an iterative approach. It's also a creative approach and a practical approach. This is what explain it well. The first stage is the empathize, from the word empathy. It means trying to understanding people, right? Trying to put yourself in their shoes to understand the frustrations, the challenges they are actually facing. Then what's now empathize? Empathize is understanding the needs, motivations, perspective of people whom you are designing for. Understanding the needs, motivations, perspectives of people whom you are designing for. This is where the research comes in. You need to try to figure out the particular problem they are facing based on their perspective. Sometimes you might feel that okay, you already know the problem they are facing, you already know okay, they are facing this particular problem. I know all about it. I'm going to go into the design and come up with designs and come up with stunning designs. No, you need to conduct the the research part. You need to go out there. If you are going to be sending out forms, if you are going to be conducting online interview or physical interview with them, you need to take note of that stage, because sometimes when you feel that you already know more about these people, you already know them, you already know everything about them, now you're creating a product that people are not even considering using it. That means it's not solving the problem, or there is a particular app or platform that is solving that problem and your own is not providing any unique features. That means people are not going to be using it. It's not relevant to them. They already have an app that can use it. So you need to consider that stage, because there are some apps out there that people are already using, but they are facing some frustrations, some challenges while using it. That is what you need to take note of. It's not that you are going to be designing if you want to design a particular app that is already outside, what you need to take note of is frustrations that people are facing during the particular existing product. That's where you conduct a particular research called competitive analysis. You need to figure out the challenges, the frustrations people are using while frustrations people are experiencing while using this particular product. For instance, if you want to create a ride share app where people can take a ride, book a ride, and go to anywhere they are going. We already have Uber, we have Bolt, we have rideshare, Reader, we have rideshare too. There are so many of it, but you want your own to be unique. That's why you need to conduct that research called competitive analysis. You need to gather information about those existing apps, those existing platforms, and figure out where people are still facing issues, and that's where you are going to be taking note of and making your own design unique. So that's what empathize comprises of. You need to try to understand them. Now, after the empathize, the next stage is to define. So this involves synthesizing the information gathered and identifying the core issues and opportunities in human-centered approach. You already conducted the research about them. You already know about them. You already know the kind of problem they are facing. You already know the particular challenges they are experiencing. Now, the next stage is to come up with identify those core issues and create some opportunities in human-centered approach. After you've defined, let me say it in a more practical way. After you've understood them, right? The next stage is to write down, highlight the particular issues and some opportunities you can provide in human-centered approach. Opportunities you can provide in design, like opportunities you can come up with, opportunities you can actually prototype and come up with the real design. That's where you take note of that. That's the next stage. Then we have the third stage, ideas. So this stage is where your creative thinking comes in, generating a wide range of ideas and potential solutions, brainstorming, mind mapping, and coming up with sketching. Now, after you've understood them, that's empathize, you conducted research about them, and you move on to the define. You've highlighted the possible issues they are facing and some opportunities you can create, right? Then you move on to the ideas, where you actually come up with, with those ideas you have in mind based on your own research, based on your assumption, backed with research you've conducted. So generating a wide range of ideas and potential solutions, brainstorming, mind mapping and sketching. You need to be creative in this stage. You need to come up with ideas. but sometimes you might want to come up with a possible solution and you wouldn't have any idea. You already know the problem, right? But you don't have any idea that okay, this is what I should do. And that's where you can now explore some inspiration sites like Behance, Dribble and the likes. Come up with okay, this is how this particular app might look like. So I look like this for people to use it, and you sketch down, and based on your brainstorming you already have that, right? So you sketch down those particular ideas in sketching. So this stage is where you go into low fidelity wireframing. You sketch down, you can use your paper, you can use some softwares like Mirror, Balsamics and the likes. So to brainstorm, to sketch out ideas. So now, having known that you need to empathize, you need to define, and you need to ideate, come up with ideas, then the next stage is to prototype. Now, prototyping in anywhere, prototype means creating a sample, right? So, transforming your ideas into tangible representations and prototypes. Sketch, wireframing, iterative simulations, simplified version of the solution. Now, you need to transform your ideas into tangible representations. You need to transform your ideas into what people can understand. You've sketched what you know, you use Mirror to sketch out everything. That's your idea. But people are not going to be using that. People are going to be using the real design, and that's where the prototype comes in. The real design, how does it look like? But taking note, prototype is not your final stage, right? But it's very similar, and it's very yeah, it's very similar to the final stage. So where it's where your design involves interactions between this page to this other page, this template, this button and the likes. So it's a simplified version of your solution you are providing. Then we have the test stage. After you've come up with your design, you come up with aesthetic, visually appealing design, then you test it. So testing your prototypes with intended users and stakeholders. What I mean by intended users is your target audience, people you want to be using this product, and your stakeholders. Conducting the testing with your stakeholders is to ensure that it's aligned with their goals and their preferences, what they actually want for you to do. Stakeholders like your uh, product manager, your CEO, and some managers like development manager and the likes. So with your intended users and stakeholders, that's where you gather information about them. So you gather insights and information about these people and this particular product you are creating. And on this stage, you gather information and insights, but you need to refine those information. You need to incorporate those feedback into your design. Okay, at this stage too, that's where you conduct usability testing. It's a form of research. After you have come up with your prototype, you have come up with your design, how you want it to look like, then you conduct that usability testing. Usability testing might come in form of if you are conducting a digital usability testing, might come in form of video recording, where you tell your users to help you, you send out your high fidelity prototypes to them to help you interact with it, and they should record their whole experience. And after that, you discuss with them some particular issues they are facing, and you use that insights you gathered from them, you incorporate it into your design back to ensure that okay, you are actually solving this problem and people are not going to be facing more issues with it. So that stage is where you test, and then you go back to your prototype. So like I said before, that design thinking process is an iterative process. you can see after you've come up with your prototype already, you tested it and you gather some information, you need to go back to the prototype stage to ensure everything is to ensure you are having the best solution. You are incorporating those feedback into it. So and sometimes you might test it and still need to brainstorm on how you can actually, okay, people gave you some insight that we don't like this thing, we don't want this button to look like this. You go back to the idea stage, you go back to brainstorm, okay, how can I come up with this thing, how can I refine this particular design element to make it look more better. You can see you are going back and forth. It's not a linear process. It's not just a straightforward process. You might go back to, oh, people are saying that this app is not actually solving problems. You need to go back to the define stage to highlight more possible solutions and more possible opportunities you can create. So design thinking process stages is not is iterative, is not a linear process. You need to be going back and forth and try to ensure that you are actually coming with best solution. Then we have the design thinking process in a more diagrammatic look. This is empathize. Empathize, like I said, is a stage where you gather information, try to understand your users. Let me see if you are seeing me. Okay. Try to gather information about them, try to understand their needs, and also you come up with the define. That's where you now highlight possible issues they are facing and the possible opportunities you can prefer. Then we go into ideate. Ideate is where your creative thinking comes in. It's where you come up with possible solutions that you can put into your design that can actually solve this problem. And now you go into prototype where you are actually uh, designing the actual UI for them to interact with. And after that, you test it with them and with your stakeholders and with developers. Sometimes you might come up with a particular design that's looking stunning, the animation is very pleasing, is very interactive and the likes, and you tested it with your stakeholders and stakeholders approved it, but then you want to hand over it to the developers and developers say they can't come up with this particular solution, they can't come up with the coding and the likes. So you need to consider that too, right? Then that kind of feedback you need to incorporate it and make it more simple, right? So for them to actually be able to what come up with it and uh, with your stakeholders. So that's that about the design thinking process. So if you have any question, please drop it on the chat. Okay, a more simplified way, more practical way for your design thinking process. So I have the research, US research, user research, that's the user experience research, or you can call it UX research, anyone. So this stage, under this stage, some kind of research you can conduct is your user survey. So now, user survey and UX research, that means those two are within the empathize stage. Then you move on to the user flow. User flow is like a representation, a representation of your app, representation of your platform. Then that means this stage will be going into your define, because it's a stage where you highlight the steps user will be taking through your design. So it's like a representation flow of how your design will look like. Then you move to wireframing. Wireframing is where you sketch, is where you sketch your idea, you sketch it out. Then you move on to the prototype. Prototype is where you actually create the particular design, the UI, how it looks like, and the UI design. So then after that, you present it. You might present it to your users, you test it with them, and you present it to your stakeholders for them to see and approve your design. So in a more practical way, we can say this stage is okay. Then now, Why design thinking? Why am I conducting design thinking? Why do I need it? Why should I come up with design thinking? The first one is to attempt to develop new ways of thinking. If you conduct this design thinking, it's an approach that can help you come up with new ways of thinking, new ways of new ideas easily, because you already know the particular users and you just need to use that information you gather from them to look like, oh, this particular kind of features that can actually solve this problem. This particular way I can actually solve this problem. You can see? So and also solve wicked problems, complicated problems, problems that you don't even know, problems that are very very complex, sophisticated problems. So it solves this problem easily. And also innovative and improvements. Yes, it's innovative. You tend to come up with ideas, you tend to brainstorm, mind mapping and come up with sketching. You know, when you are sketching, you are actually, I don't know if you do that in your graphic design, sketching, but in UI UX, in sketching stage, that is where you come up with possible ideas, because you are actually sketching and okay, let me add this button, let me add this, let me add this will improve it. That's where your innovation comes in. And also it challenge assumptions. You might be thinking that okay, I already know what the users want. Okay, this feature is what they need. Now conducting your research, you find out that oh, this is not even necessary. That means it's challenging what you already know. It's challenging your assumptions. And you are not designing based on your own thinking, based on your own assumptions. You are designing for users. So your research will tell you that these people don't need this, these people need this, these people need this. So it's challenging your assumptions, right? So and also it creates solutions that are not initially apparent until you ask questions. Solutions that you don't even think of, that is not visible, it's not obvious until you conduct your research, until you ask questions. And also it helps you think outside the box. That means it expand your thinking beyond what you know. So if you conduct a research, you get to know that hey, people are facing this problem. This is actual challenges they are facing. Why using this existing app? I need to come up with an app that can solve this problem. So I try not to think out of the box anymore, but on its edge, its corners, its flap, and under its barcode. So that's about why the reasons why you should conduct design thinking. Now, if you are doing anything in life, sometimes you might have some obstacles, some hindrances to the approach that, oh, these are the reasons I don't want to conduct this research, this particular design thinking. Some approach, some obstacles you might face. So if you can figure it out, you will understand that you are still on track. You are still working towards what you need to do. So the first one is impulsive reaction. Resist the urge to solve obvious superficial problems quickly. Now, if you have problems, if you understood problems, maybe for instance, after you've empathized stage, after you've understood these users and come up with a research, don't just go into the design, right? Don't just go into it. Don't have an impulsive reaction. So we need to resist the urge to solve obvious superficial problems quickly. So that means you need to highlight those core issues first. You need to sketch. You just don't go into your final design that oh, this is the problem they are facing. Bram, let me go into the design. No, it doesn't work that way. So resist the urge to solve obvious superficial problems quickly. You need to take your time to actually come up with oh, this solution will be okay. This one is best. This one is not okay. You need to figure that out, okay, before going into the final solution. Now, the next thing is your ego. Flat over hierarchy. So sometimes you might want to create research, right? you need to drop your ego with people while interacting with people. You need to drop your ego. So you need to take note of this. Best idea will, not the best person. You can't say that maybe for instance you are in a collaborative team where you guys are dropping ideas and dropping ideas. It's not that the manager, the idea of the manager should be what you guys are going to be using, what you guys are going to be incorporating into your design. No, you should look for the best idea, not the best person, right? So everyone has equal room. When you are in a collaborative team, you must take note of that. Okay, because you are now the lead, your idea needs to be addressed. Your idea needs to be incorporated. No, it doesn't work that way. You need to give everybody their room to talk and come up with ideas. So that means you need to drop your ego. Then group think. So the majority is not always right. Critics are not personal. So, like I said earlier, it's not just the best person, and also not the majority. If you are in a situation whereby you guys are providing ideas, you guys are coming up with ideas, not you shouldn't focus on the priority on the on the majority, right? It's not just the majority. The minority might also have the best solution and you guys won't be looking at it. So you need to consider all of that, not the majority but the best solution. So, and also wicked problems. You might find that oh, you can't solve this problem. It's very tough. It's very complex. No. So these are issues that you can say that, oh, I'm not conducting this design thinking that way. I'm not doing this. I'm not solving this problem. I can't do it. There are some problems that are very wicked and complex, and that's if you can actually solve those kind of problems, it will make your design unique, and people will use it. Right? So difficult to solve problems. It is problems are complex and interconnected. Problems that are connected together, sophisticated problems. Don't just say that, oh, can't solve it. It's very complex. Okay, so you need to provide solutions to it. Okay, so this is what we've been talking about today. We've been talking about the design thinking, the definition of it, the results of design thinking, why you are conducting your design thinking, the stages of design thinking, the empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and testing stage, the diagrammatic version, how it looks like. So this is a kind of a picture you can have in your case study. So case study is like your documentation of your work. After you've done everything, you've made your research, you've tested it, you've come up with your design and you've tested it with people. So like a case study. So under the case study, you should have a section for your design thinking. Okay, this is a section for it. And why design thinking? Why you are conducting design thinking? So to take note of it and the obstacles to the approach. So let me ask again. Do you have any question before we go into the today's practical to explain more on how uh, design thinking works? Because I said it's a practical approach. So let me know in the comment section. I'm still waiting for question. I'm still waiting for question. I'm waiting for question. We'll be going into the design on our Figma file. Okay. You said there's no question for now. Okay. I'll be dropping a design file on the group now. So it's called the design thinking FigJam page. So I'm on the FigJam link now. So what we'll be discussing here on the FigJam is, let me go back to the slide. So I have a question here. I have questions here. So the issue is to reducing the food waste through a smart refrigerator. Design a smart refrigerator that tracks food inventory, expiration dates, and suggests recipes using ingredients that are about to expire. This approach aims to minimize food waste by promoting responsible consumption. Now, what we are going to be doing here is we are going to be highlighting how we can solve this problem using the design thinking approach. So let's go into the on our whiteboarding page. So okay, so on the design thinking process, we have 5 stages, right? The empathize, the define, ideate, um, prototype, and tests. So going back to the question, reducing the food waste, let me copy it and so that we can have it on our board. This one is there first. So this is the actual problem we want to solve using this approach, right? So what we need to do first of all is to understand this problem in a more practical way, to highlight this problem out, So first thing is to come up with uh to understand this problem. Like we said that design thinking process, the ideate process is to understand the needs and motivations, perspective of the people whom you are designing for. Now what's the problem we want to solve? On how to reduce food waste by creating a smart refrigerator that can track the food inventory, expiration date and suggest recipes using ingredients and that are about to expire. Now so let's come up with on how we can tend to understand these people. Comment please, give me some minutes. So on the empathize stage is a stage we try to understand the problem they are facing. So let me write something out. Refrigerator, then you need to conduct research. First of all, you conduct research with them. Research like your interview, you conducting interview, survey, etc. Can you see my screen? You can see it. Now you need to observe these users. Individuals, their perspectives. So and you gain insight from them. So that's about your empathize. These are the stages you need to try to come up with uh, on the empathize stage. And like we said, is a stage where you understand the needs. How you can get that done is by conducting a research, right? And try to figure out their needs, motivations, and the issues they are facing based on their perspectives. Then the next stage is to define. Define involves synthesizing the information gathered and identifying core issues and opportunities. Now, how do we come up with some core issues and opportunities? So let me duplicate this. So all of these things, when you are creating a case study for it, a case study for your uh, for your uh, for your design, you are not going to be stating out okay research, no, but under the empathize stage on your research, on your case study, you will be having your research, insights you gathered from your research. So like if you conducted an interview, user interview for instance, on your case study you have your research, you state it okay, if it's a quantitative or qualitative research you conducted, you be talking about that. Okay, it's an interview, then you can just place the interview questions and responses you gather you gain from the research, and you can even talk about the person because those are questions that will be attached to your interview. You are going to be talking about the person. So that's what empathize means. Now define. What's now the define stage? So what's the define stage is where you highlight core issues. So you are going to be identifying core issues. Now you want to solve problems like reducing food waste in the society. So a particular issue, question you are going to be asking yourself is how might we oh let me check that question. Ní video yẹn red. Which one? Red red one. Ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀. Issues. So if um sorry, the network is bad. Okay, so I said, okay, I said that on the define stage is where you identify the core issues and you provide possible opportunities you can use to solve this problem. So on this stage, you were asking yourself some questions. How can you reduce this issue? How can you reduce the food waste? You can come up with a solution like through the supply chain, or I don't think we'll be going there. But these are questions you need to ask. Providing um identifying core issues like um expiration dates. um okay, this is how it might looks like in a short form. I just want to work on something practical, right? But if you are actually doing the practical work, it will be more expanded than this. So that's how about the define stage, where you identify core issues and try to prefer some opportunities you can use. Then the define stage, the idea stage is where you come up with ideas, right? How you want the this thing to look like. Let me duplicate this. So we said ideate is where you generate a wide range of ideas and po ten tial solutions based on your research and your brainstorming. Okay, you're on the screen too. Okay, how 1 year. Another solution you can think of is something like so these are ideas. If you have any ideas too, you can come up with it. So now this is the define stage. And this define stage, I mean idea stage, is not limited to just what you know. You might explore this particular tool, ChatGPT, to get more ideas and also based on what people have done. If you are conducting this kind of project, for instance, on how to reduce food waste, this project is already existing. There are some apps that are already doing this. So you can explore inspiration sites like your Behance, Dribble. If you just type it, food waste recovery app, you see it there. There are so many ideas from there. So it's not just limited to what you know. And you might think of, oh, I'm just doing this, I'm doing this. I just want to make it practical to you, to look like a practical work to you. But we are not uh doing the real work now. We are not actually coming up with the research. Okay, I said we are going to be talking about research. But before we move to the define stage, we need to understand these users, but we haven't conducted any research. So in a more practical way, before you can move to the define stage, you need to understand your users first. You need to understand this problem more, right, by conducting research and gaining insights from them. Then you put that out to come up with how you can reduce the food waste, right? So, and these are some ideas I have based on what I have here on how you can reduce the food waste through the supply chain. There's a way we can do that too, and also by expiration dates and suggest recipes they can be using to cook. So like that too. And also from there you can generate ideas on how you can reduce it. You create a platform that are user friendly and intuitive enough, and also on how you can distribute surplus foods across the country. So the ideas are not limited to this alone. So if you have any ideas too, you can just drop it on the screen. Let me see if you have any ideas too, you can drop it on the screen. But if you don't have now, you can always make your research. So sometimes we have research on our webs. Secondary research, like you going out to people that have already conducted the particular project, reaching out to them and gathering information from them, or you explore your AI tools like your ChatGPT and the likes just to come up with ideas. Not that you are going to be using all they have, but based on if you are conducting a research, you'll be gaining more insights on your research than your ChatGPT. So you can just use that ChatGPT to refine it and make it look more professional. So we have the idea stage, we have the empathize stage, define stage, and the idea stage. What is next is the prototype. So the prototype stage is where you come up with your design. Let me duplicate this. Let me put it here so that when you go in, so prototype. So on the prototype stage, you come up with possible solutions, your sketching and the likes, your your main design. Now, these are stages you are going to be selecting out your some ideas you've gathered, some ideas you have already. So let me just something like this. Best ideas, yeah. To bring your ideas to life. So on this then you move on to your mid fidelity, mid and high fidelity. So you come up with mock-ups on this stage, mock-ups and your visual designs. So and also you need to take note of something. Like I said that the prototype stage is where you have your final design, right? But it's not the final stage. So you are waiting for the testing. So prototype stage should be designed to gather feedbacks. So should be designed to gather feedback and insights from your users and stakeholders. So on this also, okay, before this one, incorporating your design pattern. Sorry. So your prototype stage should help you select the best ideas gathered on your and create your mid fidelity, your low fidelity prototype to bring your ideas to life. Then move to the mid fidelity and high fidelity design, incorporating your design pattern to your work and creating mock-up and visual designs are now designed to gather feedback and insights from your users and stakeholders. So that's how the prototype stage will look like. Then we move on to the testing. Let me duplicate this. Testing is just where you gather information about what you've already come up with. To gather information from your users and stakeholders.
Bonanza.
By testing it with them, testing the prototype. So this stage you need to observe how users interact with it.
Very fun. Bonanza.
And listen to their feedback and insights on what is working and what's not. Sorry. So this is how it will look like, right? So in a more practical way, like I've been saying, under this one, we are going to be conducting a usability testing in form of, if it's a digital research, in form of video, video tools like your Zoom, your Meet, and the likes. So this is how it will look like. Hello, Mr. Bob, are you still with me? Hello. So this is how you are going to be solving this problem. This is how it will look like. So your empathize stage is where you understand the particular issue you want to solve, and you understand your target audience, people that you want to solve it. So your define stage is where you gather some opportunities that you can profile into your design to actually solve these challenges. And the ideate is where generate ideas on how you can solve this problem. So for this task, on how you can reduce food waste by creating a user-friendly and intuitive design, create a platform to redistribute the surplus food across this country. And also the prototype stage is where you select the ideas you have on ground. It could be that okay, you want to focus on creating a platform to redistribute surplus foods across the country. That means you'll be having a platform like a section whereby people can come in and ask for foods, and you send the food to them, or you go to orphanage homes, you send food to them and the like. So it could be that that's your own idea that you want to focus on. So that's how you are going to be doing it. Then you move on to the prototype stage, keeping in mind that oh, my idea is to distribute surplus food. That's what you're going to be working on. That means you are going to be dealing with some things like location, finding orphanage homes and the likes, and gathering surplus food from people. Okay, so that could be your own idea, and it could be that okay, me I want to focus on uh on creating an app that can suggest recipes and ingredients that are about to expire. It could be that that's what I want to work on. So based on your own idea that okay, this is a particular idea that I want to bring up. And you can even incorporate everything if you have the time, if you can do it. It makes your app, it's not that it makes it complex, it makes it unique as far as solving the particular issue. It's not just sophisticated, it's not just complex, it's solving the issue. You can even have everything. And like I said earlier, ideas are not limited to what you know, are not even limited to the research you conducted. Okay, you can collaborate with stakeholders, you can collaborate with people that okay, guy, I want to solve this problem, or with other designers too. Guy, I want to solve this problem, what can I do, what can I, they might provide ideas, they might provide information that that can make your app look more great. Then you move on to, after sketching your ideas, you move on to the mid fidelity. So the mid fidelity we'll be talking about that, but let me just brief you. The mid fidelity is like a grayscale of your design. It looks like your high fidelity, but not with color. You are not considering design elements like that. So, but the high fidelity looks exactly how your design will look like, how your design will be. But that is before your testing. So, high fidelity is more similar to your final design. So then you create some mockup, you can use mockup to make it more visually appealing, and you design it to gather feedback from users. That means it must be interactive, not just a static platform, not just a static pages. It must be interactive that okay, when people click on this, because you are going to be testing it with normal user, with the user you are that are going to be using it. Okay, so and you are going to be testing it with the stakeholders. How will they know that this button is this if it's not interactive? So it needs to be interactive. Then you move on to the testing. So that's where you test it with your stakeholders and your users. You conduct usability testing through video tools like Zoom and the likes. So and you observe how users are interacting with it. So on the video tools, you can tell your user uh, to help you record it, or you and them are on the video together. So they are just interacting, maybe they are sharing their screen with you. So you are taking note of the obstacles they are facing, issues they are facing. Okay, when they click on this, it's taking time to load. When they do this, the animation is taking more time. All of that. So you take note of that. So you might use a recording to do that. So that's how it works. And after that, after you've gathered information, you've gathered insight from them, you go back to your design, right? Or you might even go back to the idea that people are complaining about this thing. How can I come up with an idea that can solve it? Okay? Or you go back to your design, okay, I just need to redesign how this thing looks like. I just need to make it more user friendly. It's not really okay. Okay, that's how you do it. So, like I said, design thinking is a non-linear process, right? You go back and forth, you go back to the stages, you might go to the testing, go back to the define state, go back to the ideate, go back to prototype, and the likes. So that's how it works. So I think I've been able to share more light on how you can solve this problem through your design thinking. So if you have for our course for this program, this is the topic we'll be discussing. Or if you have any topic in mind or any problem in mind that you wish to solve, you can do that too. But I think we can work on this particular problem because people are wasting foods nowadays and some are not even seeing anything to it. So we can create a platform that can help to reduce the food waste and maybe send surplus food to people that are not seeing anything to it, to orphanage homes and the likes. So that's how about how design thinking works and how we can use the design thinking approach to come up with design. So Do you have any question before I go to the? I have a task for you. Do you have any question? Waiting for question. Okay, if there is no question, on the next slide we have I have a small task. So against our next class, that will be next week, we'll be talking about user research and now user research on how it looks like, how we can conduct user research. So I want you to take note of these questions. What is user research? Try to come up with a brief discussion on user research, uh, and also discuss the different types of user research that we have. User research, we have different types of user research, and explain the methods of conducting user research. So you can make your research on these questions and give feedback. So you can do it in form of a Google slide. You can just send that to the group. So we'll be reviewing that before we move on to the next to the main topic of that day. Hope I'm clear. Okay, he said no question. Okay, so this is the task. So if there is no question, uh, and we have done the recap and everything, so I think that will be the end of our live stream. So you can go back and watch this video as many times as possible. Thank God it's being recorded, so you can watch it anytime, any day. So if you have any question anytime, just drop it on the group. I will take my time to review and come up with a solution to it. So you can drop it. I'm always available. You can drop any question anytime. So thank you very much for staying with us, and thank you. Good day, and have a nice, a nice Sunday and a nice week ahead.